Oh, okay. I think my favorite part is how detail oriented and professional and just kind they were. Um, I've done a lot of business with a lot of places, but they actually took the time to show me where things were, to explain in detail um, how what I can expect in terms of how it would be beneficial to my everyday life and everyday use, and connecting those dots for me was important. Um, because there's a lot of things that can be sold and when new things are out there or even things that you may see other people have on their houses, but you're not really sure how it's going to impact you.
Mm,
I appreciated that level of detail orientation, and it took extra time with me because I had a lot of questions, and
mm,
they never felt rushed. They never felt like they were trying to just come on, come on. It always felt like I'm here as long as you need
mm,
the explanation for whatever you have. We'll take the time and go through it. And because they were willing to take the time, and because they were willing, even at installation, to just kind of walk me through, show me where things are done, show me what's how things work. That really stuck with me in terms of if you sold anything else, I would probably buy it because I'm big on being loyal too. If you've done right by me, I'll come back for other things. I would say, and one more thing in addition to that is, so I'm visually impaired. And so that's what took a lot of time in terms of them actually taking the time to show me where things are, where the handle will be for where I turn on and off,
right.
the connection piece, explaining when they're in my house to put in the part that's going to connect to the inside of my house. They just were very professional and very detail oriented to help me in whatever I needed to understand.
How has National Solar been different from other companies that you've worked with, whether that's solar or retail or any company like that?
Sure. Um, so to me, I felt like they treated me like an actual person, like we were having not just, it wasn't just business, it was actually conversation. And what I mean by that is I've had a lot of people approach me about siding, about roofing, a
Mhm.
lot of different things for my house.
Mhm.
Their focus was very much on explaining and walking me through how this would benefit me financially, not just now, but in the future. And I really appreciated their approach because I was hesitant in the beginning when the first person came to the door, but the gentleman was so humble and so just genteel
Mhm.
in his approach. It 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 made me want to just I'll just hear you out, you know. By the time he finished his um presentation to me at that point, it made me want to, well, let me hear the full spiel. Let me hear the full about what you actually have
Mhm.
to offer. The and so in doing that, when so that was Mr. Escobar, Kevin Escobar was my personal representative who came to kind of explain things to me, and he actually had to split up the um the presentation into 2 days because I had so many questions the first day, and he just took the time. He I just felt like he was actually interested in helping me to understand how this would actually be more beneficial. To me, that's a little bit different than business because businesses usually get it in, get it quick, get it done. If they don't, move on.
Mhm.
Um, Conversation. And he made it very clear. He's like, if this is not for you, I won't push. I am somebody when I have a no and it's not respected, that I will shut down the sale immediately. Because at that point, I feel like you're not really respecting me as a person and what I have to bring financially to the table for the benefit of what you're offering.
Mhm.
But like I said, the professionalism and the personal attention, and then just he just treated me with respect as a human being. And
Mhm.
you don't find that in business a lot. And you don't find that balance. And he definitely had a really strong balance. And it just made me relax and open up to really hear him fully. And like I said, every question I had, if he didn't have it, he got me to who could answer it. And we just stepped through it bit by bit, where
Mhm.
I was comfortable with my timing and my time frame. There was no push, there was no pressure. It was literally just kind of laid out before me, and I got to make the decision. and I like that approach. Um, he did let me know that it was a minority owned business, and that was also important to me.
Hmm.
And I had made some comments about just approaches to things and how I kind of have a faith based approach to, in terms of that golden rule: treat others as you want to be treated,
Right.
which enabled me to hear from him about how it's also faith based, which was even then that really even more encouraged me to really consider the investment.
Would you recommend National Solar to friends and family?
Well, absolutely. Actually, I was so impressed with how they dealt with me that I felt like if I wasn't ready at that moment to do it, I would absolutely be following back up when I was financially ready. As it turned out, I was ready. And so I went forward with them and I went ahead and signed the contract and did what have you. I absolutely would recommend them to others. Let me just say that when I recommend people to others for for work, I'm always thinking about the character integrity of who I'm forwarding. It's important to make sure that whoever I'm putting forward has integrity and character, and it's a good product. More or less, the integrity and how I'm dealt with or how I've been dealt with, that
Mm.
will go further with me. And especially when I'm sending them to somebody, because then my name's on the line with who I'm forwarding to them to. I would never forward somebody that I just had an okay experience with, or I got the job done. I'll tell you about them to yourself. But in terms of this particular company,
Mm.
I advocate for the service that I got
Mm.
over the product. The product will speak for itself, but the service and the company itself, how I was dealt with,
Mm.
middle of because there were some things I weren't sure of between the time that because it took some time to get the stuff the panels actually here to then install, and then all those little processes that go in between from the time you install it to the time that it has to get shut on.
Mm.
I was very well cared for, very well taken care of. And
Mm.
so that's a lot of what I market to anybody who's looking or considering.
Mhm.
That's what I put to the forefront, especially family
Mm. Mhm.
in the process of doing stuff.
Right.
If they're not ready, I sell it in terms of when you are, it would really be in your best interest to consider this particular company, because where you're not sure, you want to talk to some things. I felt like I had somebody there to call at each step, no matter before or after. And I actually have had to call after, because I was calling about, like, what do I do about the rebate piece, and what do I do about there was always somebody to call me back.
Okay.
So the answer is yes, I would absolutely, I would absolutely recommend them. But I recommend more about their company over the product, because that's what really stuck with me.
Mm.
The
Mm.
product will sell itself. Reiterate again, Kevin Escobar was my particular representative. And it's one of those things where when you meet somebody who is quite genuine, it resonates. You can usually tell.
Mhm.
And I just appreciated the extra time. Being somebody who's disabled and visually impaired,
Mhm.
and I contend a lot with people who either don't know, don't understand. So you're kind of like shoved in, or here you go, or this is it, and you can read it later and have you, whether it be I'm out on my everyday life, whether it be even at work at times, or when there's a service involved. When you have people who take the time, I'm very sensitive to that part,
Mm.
because you're paying attention to the fact that you're being handled very carefully.
Mm.
If somebody is out to bring a product, a service that can help you,
Mm.
the way he was willing to just be very open, transparent, very upfront about his stance. He respected at every juncture. He gave me the space to think it through. Like, do I even want to go through and hear the rest of this? But because he was just very respectful and very professional and a very personal feel,
Mm.
and say, well, let me hear what you got to say. Let me just hear. And so through that process, which from the man who came to my door to initially even spark the conversation. If you want to hear, I'll hear what you have to say. So
Mm.
I appreciated that greatly, because that small customer service touch in this particular climate, not only have you sold myself what you came to offer, but
Mhm.
now I will swear by and pass on to other people and rave about the experience that I had.
Mm,
It's not just the product, it's also the experience about how somebody is handling the customer and making room for them, making them the priority,
mm,
whatever that means for that particular customer. So in that, there was a lot of kind of tailored approach because I have different needs than other people. Those were met in whatever fashion they needed to do. And I can't say enough how I really appreciated that part
mm.
and the integrity that I felt came with him because he kept his word, he followed through. There were questions and things that kind of came up unexpectedly for me. And every time I made a phone call, from the young lady who picks up the phone to say, okay, I know how to get you in touch with, well, let me have somebody follow up, to the end product and the end. And of course, I'm very happy because my bill is like super low at this point, like super low.
Yeah.
And during the during this time in climate financially, when everything is skyrocketing, it's
Mhm.
helped me so much to manage, just especially during the summer with the AC having to run all the time because we're in 100-degree temperatures. Like
Right.
it's helped me financially do what it came to do. But I'll always associate that with this particular person and their company came to help me out at a time where I wasn't sure if I even wanted it. Y- It's made me very happy about the decision to go with the company and to even buy the product because I'm usually somebody who's very like, if I've done without it, I can do without it now. So the fact that they I knew that they were sent in terms of like it was meant to be this particular company because there was so much just a human touch to the entire every aspect. I really appreciated that. And now I'm benefiting because of what they offered and because of who they were to me in that time.
Mm, mhm. So from start to finish, the customer
Yeah.
experience was top notch as far as, not pressuring you, communicating, following through, and providing a product that you're benefiting from to top it off. Mm,
Absolutely.
that's awesome.